Did you know in Southeast Michigan, 40% of households do not make ends meet, and that up to 35% of incomes go to vehicle costs? Welcome to Tapping into Transit with True. I'm Bianca Miles, the MSW intern of Transportation Riders United. We are joined today with Kyle DuBuc, the Executive Director of Policy, Advocacy, and Communications for United Way. United Way have been working on the ALICE report, which details the population who are above the poverty line but still struggle to make ends meet. So, Kyle, tell us, what is ALICE and what does it measure? And who are typically the ALICE families?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Bianca. And the ALICE report is, ALICE is a report generated by the Michigan Association of United Ways. And ALICE actually stands for Asset Limited Income Constrained Employee. And what the report does is it tries to give us a real picture of how households in Michigan are faring. And it does this by comparing basic bare bones cost of living household budget, like things that one must absolutely have access to in order to make ends meet from month to month. And it compares that to the true cost of living in city or county or across the state. And it looks at the basic cost of food, housing, healthcare, transportation, taxes, and technology. And what this does is when you take a look at the report, it gives us a real contrast to, say, federal poverty level, where federal poverty would show that about 13% of households in Michigan are at or below poverty. But in the state of Michigan, it's actually about 38% of people are falling below this basic survival budget. And so the budget shows that costs have far outpaced inflation and are certainly not being captured in the way that federal poverty is calculated. So what you'll see in the basic ALICE household budget is that, say, for a family of 4 with 2 adults and 1 infant and 1 preschooler, top cost for the household is housing. The second highest cost is transportation. So what we're seeing is households, the vast majority of whom are working, are not able to make a basic budget work.
Interesting. Okay. Why is more and better public transit a critical solution for ALICE families?
Sure. So, like I said, the transportation budget is one of the cost drivers in that household budget. And it's one that we know, particularly in our region, is a real burden on households where we don't have a comprehensive transit system. The only realistic option is to actually own a car, which means maintaining a vehicle, fueling a vehicle, and insuring a vehicle, which we know in our region is well above the standard costs around the country. So that is one of the drivers of this massive ALICE number that we're seeing. Again, 38% of people across the state, but 40% of households in our region in Oakland-Macomb are not earning enough to make that basic household budget work. So we know that we have to address our lack of access to affordable transportation options in this region, not just because it's a cost driver, although that's a core reason, but also access to transit is how folks can get access to jobs that can get them up above that level, or access to training, or access to school. So transportation really ties together all these needs. Access to a grocery store that actually has nutritious foods available, access to quality schools for one's children. Without a comprehensive transit system, it doesn't just drive that line item in the household budget, but actually harms their ability to achieve, secure the other items in the household budget.
Absolutely, that is absolutely correct, and that's what True tries to advocate for every day. So tell us more about the role of advocacy and how it plays within ALICE measurements.
Sure. So, when you see that you have 13% of poverty, but actually 38% of folks in the state living below this threshold, it's abundantly clear that this is a systemic problem. And while at United Way, we provide services and work with partners to meet need where it exists in the community, we also have to be working to address the root causes of this systemic breakdown, where folks who are doing everything right and everything that's expected of them are still struggling month to month, and many more are one unpaid sick day away, or one broken car breakdown away from being in a state of crisis. And what that means is that our systems, our policies are just not working to set households up to succeed. So we believe that while we're meeting the need where it is, it's essential that we advocate for those systemic fixes. So we transit is clearly one of those places where we know we have a broken system, and we know that it's going to take policymakers and community leaders and business leaders in industry to help fix this. So we spend a lot of our time advocating on those core issues that we know will help shrink that number of people living below that threshold. So that means transit. It means earned income tax. It means accessing for advocating for more affordable, accessible childcare, post-secondary attainment. These are all core drivers of why we have this number that should really be a shock to anyone that sees it in the region. And to your earlier question about where ALICE is in every single community, every single county in the state, and that's something that we should all be using as our North Star, as far as if we want to build better and stronger communities where people are set up to succeed. The ALICE report can really inform our decision making and where we need to put our efforts to change that number. And we can judge our success by reducing the number of folks who are living below that threshold.
Absolutely. Kyle, where can we find more information about the ALICE report or any other efforts through United Way?
So all of our advocacy work at United Way is rooted in the ALICE report. So for folks who want to really get active around advocating for policies that are going to help those households who are falling below that ALICE threshold, they can visit standwithunitedway.org, where you can get information on any of our latest advocacy campaigns, or sign up for information about some of these core issues, and we will keep people informed as opportunities come up to contact your legislator or local leaders around policies that can really impact households for the better.
Thank you for joining us today, Kyle. As Kyle mentioned, for more information on United Way, you can go to standwithunitedway.org. Tap It Into Transit is made possible by our wonderful members of TRUE. Check us out on our website at detroittransit.org and follow us on any social media sites such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you again for joining us today, Kyle. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to hearing more about the ALICE report.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to everyone at TRUE for the great work that you do advocating for transit.